Afternoon, everyone. I'm here. Hi, guys. Everyone see me okay? Hear me okay? Just give it a few minutes, as always, guys, for everyone to get in the room. Yeah, I'm in a different room. We've got an actual real training course on tomorrow in our training room. I've been relegated to the spur office because I've been in there for a week and I've absolutely trashed the place. There was like 10 coffee cups with bits of coffee in it, monitors, cables, all sorts everywhere. So we spent today sorting out my mess basically, and I've now been relegated to the spur office. Seeing who else is coming in. Yeah, we've got a coffee machine working, Martin. I've been guzzling gallons of it for a week. Martin, by the way, Martin Marshall, you can see in there. He's one of our trainers and assessors, so he's jumped on. I think we've got Jim in as well. He's one of our guys. It's got a nice mixture of people. I recognise a lot of you guys. Anybody's first time? If not, it saves me doing the boring intros. Not got many of us here today, guys, which is good. So my name's Pete Ashcroft, guys, and I'm with Sygma for anyone that's not met me before. So this session that we're going to do is called CAT data download and analysis. So a couple of things that I want to just run through before we start. We have got some utility mapping surveyors in here. Guys, I'm honestly not sure how useful this session is going to be for you. This is aimed at the CAT and Genny side of it. And when we talk about data download, we can basically download the usage history from somebody's cable locator. So the idea for this is the guys that are on site excavating, we can download the data, get an idea of if they're using it correctly, how often they're using it. We can also obviously investigate cable strikes through it, look at putting in place any training they might need based on usage history and stuff. So it's all geared around that side of it. Stay tuned though, you still might benefit from having a look at it, give you an idea of what we're looking at on site. And guys, anybody else in here? Is anybody in here actually using the CAT data, or is anyone familiar with it already? You've been downloading it and looking at it, guys. Just so I can, it helps me just pitch it a little bit if I get an idea of the experience that you've got with it. I'm just going to take my jacket off a minute. Okay, so yeah, a bit of a mixture, guys. Okay, cool. So it's quite a short session, guys, and it's not PowerPoint based. We're just going to look at some data and look at getting some stuff off the CAT. The thing that I focus on in this session, I'm going to show you how to get the data off the CAT, and I'm going to show you how to analyze it and chuck it into a tool. And I'm going to show you some free methods as well. There's some stuff with the GCAT. Difference to the ECAT, so I'm gonna show you that. But what I want to really look at today is I want to show you some of the problems that I've come across with the data. There's a lot of companies using the data now, but I'm also seeing a lot of, I don't want to call it misuse, but a lot of misunderstanding with the data and what it means. And one of the things that we've come across quite a lot is people faking it. And I want to show you how to spot that as well, guys. So I hope that's okay for you, but that's the kind of agenda. We're going to download some data, have a look at some data, and look at things to to watch for as well. One of the things I think happens quite a lot with this data is we get obsessed with pie charts. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll see I wrote an article about this not long ago. We get too obsessed with these charts, and I think it's really important that we show people how to look at the raw data, because to me that's the critical part of this. So without further ado, I should have had this ready, guys. Sorry. I just want to show you a little slide here. And again, guys, interactive. Anything you want to ask, chuck it in. I'm quite happy to go off on tangents, guys. So if there's something that you want to see that I'm not showing you, just throw it in there, and we'll talk about it. Might be a sec, guys. Sorry, I should have had this ready. My fault. Here we go. This is the bit that I want. So we're referring to CAT4 in particular on this session, guys. Other locators do have a download facility. They'll work slightly differently. So the first thing I want to just show you very briefly is which CAT do you have. So with the CAT4 series, there's quite a range of models. They're not all the same. One of the things we come across is that people think that every CAT4 will have a data download facility, and they don't. You have to have a specific model to be able to do that. So I'm just going to zoom in on here, guys, and show you some of these. So you'll see some of the differences here. This is a CAT4, then we've got an ECAT4, and we've got a GCAT4, okay? And then underneath these, I've got the same again, but with a plus at the end of it. Okay. Plus on a CAT simply means depth. Okay, so basically this is a GCAT4, this is a GCAT4 with depth, ECAT4, ECAT4 with depth, standard CAT4, CAT4 with depth. Okay, so the plus means depth if you've got a plus on your locator. So, okay, so now we understand the plus. Let's look at the different prefixes, if you like. On the left here is a standard CAT4. That CAT4 doesn't download, okay? It's got to have a prefix before it. Sometimes get calls saying to me that we can't download the CAT, and when you find out what model it is, it's a standard CAT4. We need to have an E or a G to be able to download. And the difference between the two is on an ECAT4, I can download data. I can see what time it was used, how long for, what modes it was in. What I can't do with an ECAT is see where it's been used. Okay, it doesn't give me any location data. On the GCAT4, I can get all the same info that I can off the ECAT4, but in addition, on the GCAT4, I also get position. So I can see where the CAT's been used as well, GPS coordinates. The other advantage of a GCAT4 is that it's got a Bluetooth module in it, and I can pair that with my phone. I can then put what's called CAT Manager app on my telephone. It'll Bluetooth to the CAT, and it will upload the data into the cloud, in effect. So with an ECAT, I've got to physically... With an ECAT, I've got to physically plug it into a computer. I've just had a message, guys, saying somebody's been disconnected and can't see. Is everyone else still here, guys? Sorry, Alan. It's not the fact that it gives additional depth. It's that it measures depth. Sorry, Alan. So there's the button on the top. We can press it when we're using a transmitter, and it'll tell us how deep it thinks the cable is. On the non-plus variants, we don't have that feature on it. Okay, so that's what I meant by depth. Sorry, I should have been clearer. So on the GCAT, as I said, we can pair it with the telephone, and it'll upload to the cloud. On an ECAT, I've got to physically plug a cable in and download the data manually to my computer. I can still put that into the web platform, though. Radio detection have a thing called CAT Manager Online. The idea of the GCAT is it goes from CAT to phone straight into that website, if you like. On an ECAT4, I plug it into a computer, I can pull it off manually, and I can still upload it into that. Okay, so the GCAT's taking that step away for me, and it's also giving me GPS. So I hope that makes sense to everyone, guys, about the differences between the two models. Okay, and there's manual ways that we can look at the data as well. Okay. So the first thing that you'll need if you want to do this, guys, if you're going to do it manually, okay. By the way, I can still plug a GCAT in. I don't have to do it by Bluetooth. I can still plug it in. So what we need, guys, is we need a bit of software. And the software that we use is called CAT Manager. You can download it off Radio Detection's website. And I've got it pre-installed on my computer here. I'm just going to open it up. Hopefully you'll see this. So that's the software, the CAT Manager software. And what you can do with it is you don't have to create an account. You can use it without an account. As you can see there, it's asking me to sign in as I have an account. I'm not going to, guys, today. I'm just going to leave that. And I can use it without having to sign into it. If you use the sign in button up here and then create a new account, you get more features opened up to you. You can create an account and then you can speak to the tech guys at Radio Detection and they'll upgrade your account to various levels, which allow you to do more things. So on a basic level, without a login, I can simply look at the data on the CAT, transfer the data off, but I can't adjust anything. Okay, I can't adjust any settings on it. Okay, I'm going to download data, and that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so far, guys, yeah. So I've always said this on my previous ones, it's hard on a webinar, I can't see your faces to see whether you look confused or asleep or interested. So I'll just keep asking you now and again just to let me know if you're still following along with me, guys. So I'm just going to put myself on full screen so I can show you what we do. So we've got the software open here, guys. I'm going to turn this screen share off for a second. And then what you're going to need then is, I think this is referred to as a mini USB rather than a mic. It's the old-fashioned one. I always call it like a PlayStation 3 controller connector. So it's the slightly bigger USB cable. Okay, so this is plugged, the other end's plugged into my computer. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to get my, I've got my GCAT here. Okay, and then if we open up the battery compartment, everything's reversed on a camera. It makes it really awkward. There's a little USB port here. You see that? So I'm going to get this and I'm going to stick it in to that. Okay. I'm now going to put my screen share back on. And it's telling me to replace batteries. Typical. 2 seconds, guys. Just wait there a second. I'm back in the room. I've just got some new batteries I'm going to try. Just give me a sec. Yeah, it does, Alistair. There we go. So what you'll see now is on this right-hand side here, it's reading the CAT now. I'm looking for all greens, basically. As you can see, when we had the issue with the battery, it flashed up red. So the batteries have been changing. It's now red. And now what we can see here is the settings on the CAT. So it's a 50 hertz power machine. It's got data logging turned on, strike alerts on, the depth's in metric, cal safe is off, swing warnings on, Bluetooth and GPS are on. We've also got the calibration information down here and the software version. At this point, if your software is out of date, you can update the software if you've got a login. But as you can see, I can't change any of these things. If I've got a login and I've got a more advanced account, I can do things like turn depth on and off. And I can turn swing warning off and that kind of stuff. Okay. You'll see that, okay, guys. It's a bit fuzzy on my screen. I don't know how it's coming through at your end. But hopefully you can see that, okay. So the cat's plugged in. Okay. You can also see the time of the cat up here. What you can do as well, Alistair, when you get a proper login, you can turn down. So one of the reasons the GCAT uses more batteries, obviously it's got a GPS in it, but I don't know if you notice, it stays on. So when you let go of the trigger, it stays on for about a minute afterwards to save it keep relocking onto a satellite. But you can turn that time window down a little bit, and that saves a little bit of batteries on it as well. So we got the cat plugged into our computer, and if you look at the top here now, hopefully you can see this. I can click on data log. Okay. Now the simplest way to describe this is that the column on the left, and it's quite self-explanatory. The column on the left says cat, the column on the right says PC. So this is the data that's on my cat, and this is the data that's on my PC. So what I need to do is move the data from the cat across to the computer. What I can't do, guys, is delete it. So don't worry about anyone deleting the data. It's a very difficult thing to do. You've got to kind of get in touch with ID and stuff and all that kind of thing. I can only copy it across. I'm not going to remove any. So what we do now on the left-hand side is select the data that we want. The more data you pull across, guys, the longer it's going to take. Okay, so try to pull off what you need, be it a day, a week, or a month. Okay. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull April's data across. You see that selection here on the left? There are two ways of selecting the data that you want to pull across. The one that I like to do best is I select my first date, and then I go to the last date that I want. And this time, before I click, I press Shift and click, and that highlights them. Okay. So that's option one. The other thing that I can do is, if you like, is I can draw a little box like this and just kind of select it like that. One of the things that I want to warn you about, guys, is that when I'm going to move up here now, can you see my cursor moving? I'm going to move up here to hit that transfer button, but can you see what happens when I do? That blue disappears, and it looks at first glance like it's unselected it, but if you look closer, you'll see it shaded in light gray. Okay, so that's normal, so just be aware of that. It hasn't unselected it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transfer that data across to my computer. And there we go, it's transferred across. So the data that I want now is on my computer. Now, the thing that's good about this is if you're out on site visiting guys and downloading data, that data is now on your computer. I can disconnect the cat now, I can unplug it, and I can give it back to the team and leave them to it. So it's a very, very quick process just to get data off a cat. I can look at that later back in the office. And I said I can leave the teams working now undisturbed when I go off and look at that data at a later date. It's on my computer now. I can disconnect the cat, which I'm going to do. Is everybody with me so far, guys? Just find my drink while I'm... Just finding a presentation as well while I'm talking to you. Leave that in the background for later. Great stuff, guys. So now what we need to do with this data is we need to look at it. So the best way to describe this now is we've kind of got two things going on with this data. We've got the raw data file with the raw data entries in it. But what we can do with that is we can kind of package it up. If anybody's ever seen like these fancy pie charts and things, that's after we've taken that raw data and run it through what we call the analysis tool, or chucked it into Cat Manager online. Okay, so the first thing is now let's have a look at the raw data, and then let's package it up and run it through the analysis tool. Okay, so one thing to remember with this, guys, is that let's say you've got 20 cats that you're in charge of. When you first install this software and do cat number one, you'll only have one cat here. Every cat that you do subsequently, it'll store it kind of here. So if you do go around and visit all the guys and download 10 cats worth of data, when you get back to the office and you want to start looking at it, you just need to remember this. Can you see the serial numbers listed here? So obviously you need to know whose is whose cat, yeah, if you're downloading it. So I'm just going to make sure I've got the right serial number that I want for the right data that I want to make sure I've got the right data. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to pull 1 day's worth of data. And then at the top here, I'm going to click view, and that will open the data collector. It's a bit like a spreadsheet. Here we go. Now, if you're not aware of this, the way the CAT logs data is very, very simple. All the CAT simply does is every second, it puts an entry into a spreadsheet. So all this here is 1 second's worth of data. Each line is a second. And the CAT's kind of basically putting an entry and saying, right, at this point in time, I'm on power mode. The sensitivity is set here. I'm picking up this, and it logs it. And every second it does the same thing. It kind of puts an entry in of its status. Okay, so you get quite a lot of entries, as you can imagine. Okay, what we're going to do now is package this up. So I don't look at it in here now. That's my data collector. That's the data in there. I want to package this up now and run it through my analysis tool. Okay. Now this is where there's a common mistake, guys. So pay attention to this bit if you're doing this. If I export this data, okay, I can export it to a CSV or a KML to get the GPS. Okay. We generally export to CSV for looking at the data, but if I export now, can you see it says 1 in brackets there? I am only actually exporting 1 second's worth of data. So I've seen a lot of people have issues with this where it's not been working properly for them, and you find out that that's what they've been doing wrong. They've been hitting export, and it's only been exporting 1 second's worth. So before I hit this export button, guys, I need to go over here and press select all. And what you'll see now is, can you see that? That's jumped up to nearly 3,000. So I've now grabbed all that data, and now I'm going to export it to a CSV file. So I'm just going to pick somewhere to save it. So I'm going to go to my desktop, and I'm just going to save it as webinar data. Very important now, guys, when you save this file, do not use any spaces. Okay. If you put a space in that file name, it will not, the analysis tool will not work with it. So no spaces. And I'm going to just save that there. And as I save it, it will automatically open up Excel for me with that file in it. Here we go. That's our raw data, guys. Okay. We're going to come back to that later. Okay. So I can get rid of all this. Now I'm going to close all this up and get rid of all this. Okay. I've now got my raw data file for that day's worth of data, which was on Monday. Okay. Again, are you all still with me, guys? Anything you want to ask, chuck it in there. Hopefully you're following this through. Okay. When we do this for real, guys, we like to do an EUSR accredited version of this. When we do it for real in a classroom, we have everyone with their own computer plugging their own CATs in and working through the data with me. So it's very, very hands-on normally, this. So it's a bit new to me, this, delivering it in this format. There's 2 things that we can do with that data file now. Okay, we can go to CAT Manager Online, which is the web portal, and I can upload that into the web portal, and that'll do fancy things with the data for me, create some nice reports. Okay, the manual thing that I can do with it, and this is quite handy. There's a free template spreadsheet called CAT Analysis Tool, and if anybody wants it, guys, drop me an email, I'll send it to you. You can get it from RD, and we're up to version 78 at the moment. So it's an Excel file as opposed to a program. It's like a template file, I guess, is the best way of describing that. So here you'll see, guys, can you see that? CAT4 Analysis Tool version 78. So I'm now going to open up that analysis tool. Here we go. If you do this for the first time, it will possibly ask you to enable macros when you do this, guys. So click yes if it does do that. Now, bear in mind, guys, this is the template file. This isn't our data yet. That's left over from the last time I used it, okay? So we ignore this. What we need to do now is import that file we just saved into this. So I'm going to go down here to new data file. And then I'm going to go and find that file that we saved. We called it Webinar Data Wednesday. There we go. No spaces, remember? This is the point where it'll reject it if there's a space in there. And we click open, and then we just sit back and wait a few seconds. Fingers crossed. It just, again, the bigger the file, guys, the longer this takes just to import it in there. So here we go. That's it, guys. We're in. So this is that data file that we took off the CAT4 Monday, remember? Okay, so up here, guys, it's going to give us some basic information of the CAT serial number, etc. Okay, and as you can see, the date range is up here as well. So remember, looking at a single day, guys, I can chuck a month's worth of data in this and get a trend over a month. Okay, I can do a week's worth, a day's worth, whatever, and I'll alter that by using these down here, but we've just got a day there at the moment. So if we look at the data in a little bit more detail now, guys, we can see that on Monday, the CAT was used for 47 minutes. Okay. 31 minutes in Genny mode, 9 minutes in power, 6 minutes in radio. Nice little pie chart here. 66% Genny usage, 21, 1.2. What's your thoughts on that, guys? Good usage? If you downloaded that data off one of you guys, would you be pretty pleased with that? Give me some feedback on that data, guys, that you can see. Not sure what the delay's like on here, guys. But, yeah, more Genny the better. Radio's a little bit low, but Alice, if you come on our courses, we actually aim for 80% Genny use, 10% power, 10% radio. Not got time to explain all that on here, guys, but yeah, more Genny the better. Okay. All right, guys. So I want to let you into a little secret, guys. That data is completely fake. It's not real. That CAT did not locate a single cable on that day. Okay. It's a load of tosh. So Ben, I mean, in the UK, typically what we're trying to get the guys to do is use Genny more. So when we look at this data, for example, if it was a very low amount of Genny usage, we'd have concerns. We'll be looking at why aren't we using the Genny as much as we should be. Yeah, some people do, Scott, but again, it's hard to do it on this. If you ever come on a full course with me, you know, think about it this way. The manufacturers themselves tell you that 70% of utilities are only detected with the Genny. And so that, to me, tells us about usage, you know. 70% of utilities are only detected with Genny. Why are we aiming for equal usage? We should be going for like really, really high Genny usage and a small amount of power and radio. But it's hard to go into all that on here, Scott. We cover that on our courses, the kind of full, you know, one-day courses. But anyway, guys, so it's fake, and this is the thing that we've come across, and I want to show you first of all why it's fake. We can't tell from the pie chart. Remember, because all it's showing us is the percentage it's been used in each mode. And let me show you what that CAT was doing to get that data. There you go. For anybody using a high-end locator, guys, with your RD8000, you turn it on. You press a button, it's on. With a CAT, you've got to hold the trigger in. You let go of the trigger, it's off. You've got to keep that pressed in all the time while you're using it. Okay. So we faked it because it's only log on those pie charts that you see, guys. It's only logging. So just as an example, guys, let me just turn my screen share off for a minute and give you an idea here. If I get this CAT, if I turn that on and I put it on Genny for 10 minutes, radio 5, power 5, I'd have all the pie chart, wouldn't I? I mean, I've used it though, you see. So this is why I'm a very big advocate of being able to look at the raw data, okay, and analyze the raw data. The other thing that's happening with these CATs, guys, is that what I've seen happen is if the CAT says it's been used for half an hour in a day, 30 minutes, for example, that is only 30 minutes of trigger time. You think of how long that trigger is held in for a typical survey. So to give you an example, I could go outside and spend an hour and a half locating with my CAT and Genny using the kit. But when you download my CAT, it might only say 40 minutes. because how much of that time is the trigger held in? You see what I mean? I'm making connections, I'm doing things, I'm marking stuff. I've not always got that trigger in. So we need to take that into account as well, guys. That, you know, the time on those charts is not always a true reflection of how long people have been using it for. What we can see with the raw data, though, which I think is more important, we can look at what time did he do his first trigger pull, what time did he start using it in the morning, and what time did he stop using it, and that will give me a better idea of how long he's been using it for during the day. Does that make sense, guys? Is it all making sense so far, guys? You okay with what I'm showing you? I hope it does. So this is where we're going to look at the raw data now for that same day that I said was kind of faked. It's fake data. Let's have a look, see if I can find it. So this is our file here. And I'm just going to put my screen share back on again. So on the raw data, you remember what I said, every second is an entry. Now what happens when you open raw data, guys? This always happens. Can you see the dates hashed out? So all you need to do to start with is just open that up a little bit more like that. See that? You see, the other thing that the pie chart doesn't tell me is what mode did they start in? Because for anybody that we've trained, anybody that's been trained by Sygma, what do we expect them to start with, guys? We expect them to start with the Genny, first mode. So we can't see that from the pie chart, but we can see it from this, okay? So what mode did we start in? So here we started with Genny. Can you see that? So remember, every second, can you see? 7, 19 and 34 seconds, 35 and so on every second. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I've got the raw data in front of me. I can start scrolling down it. So I'm going to put the date on the left-hand side here, and I'm going to look. So these are the columns, guys. So I've got date, signal strength, and then the individual signal strength in each modes. And that's where my sensitivity is set at, and that's what mode that I'm in. So let's look at some basic stuff straight away. Let's start scrolling through this data. First of all, alarm bells. Sensitivity is set at maximum. If we scroll down that data, is it moving? Is it changing? No. It's not being used, is it? If we were using that in the real world, this would be changing. We'd be turning it down. We'd be adjusting it. But there's no, I'm scrolling right down here, guys, and there's no movement in that. Okay. Let's look at something else that's interesting and quite concerning. Look at the signal strength here, guys, and the total signal strength. That's basically nothing. That's a tiny bit of background. If that CAT's on Genny mode and that's turned up max, we should be getting bucket loads of signal here, and we're not. So straight away, there's no Genny turned on there. There's no Genny turned on or connected. All through that Genny was not turned on, all right? But the pie chart says that we had 66% Genny use. Okay, let's look across here, guys, now at some more things that are concerning. Here we have blade angle and paddle angle. So if you can see my little thumbnail here to say me, so if you imagine the cat being moved like this and being moved like that, it's monitoring the angle. What do you notice about these numbers down here, guys? So 0 is when it's kind of perfectly straight, if you like that. It's not moving. So in other words, if we were using this in the real world and that cat's moving, we should see those numbers changing. We should see movement with it, and we're not. Okay, and the second thing that's also really important, okay, over here, this column, I like these columns, guys. We've basically got power audio, radio audio, Genny 33 audio, and Genny HF audio. So what this is referring to is if there is a noise coming from the speaker. So if the cat's making a noise from the speaker, it'll be 1. If it's not, it'll be 0. It's very hard to fake this part of it. So what does it tell us? If that's in Genny mode and it's picking up a Genny signal, we should be seeing 1s in these columns to indicate the cat is making a noise, and they're all 0s. Okay, guys. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so let us look at some real data to compare it, some genuine data. Let's get this fired up. It's a bit of a break in this data in here, but just go down here, guys. So if we look here, let's get some. Where am I? Come across this way. Hang on, I messed this up a bit. Sorry, guys. I'm just not the file I wanted. I think that was corrupt data. So look at the difference here, guys. If we have a look, okay. You scroll down here. See, power's still on full there, guys. But can you see it's now moving? So look at the difference now here on Genny. Can you see that? Look at the signal strength now, guys. Look at that. Yeah. So that's picking up a signal. Yeah. Sensitivity is moving. Can you see it's adjusting? It's moving between them. Let's go over here. Let's look at the blade and paddle angle. Can you see that, guys? These numbers are changing. They're moving. They're changing. Let's look at the audio. Can you see we've now got ones and zeros? Yeah. See the difference there, guys? Is that okay for you guys? Can you see the difference between the real data, if you like? So I guess what I was trying to push with this session really is how important that raw data is. And I see a lot of people getting carried away with charts and stuff. But let's show people how to look at this raw data in detail, and we can really get an idea of what's going on and how the kit's being used and any training issues and stuff like that. Is that okay for you guys? Yeah. Couple more things to consider as well. What when you look at the data, I don't know if you've seen this before, guys, but it tells you how many scans someone's done. And I had this recently with a company, and they were looking at comparison data, and they were talking about one guy, just as an example, had done 3,000 scans, and one guy had done 300, and they were kind of promoting the fact that the guy with 3,000 was using it better. But when you actually looked at the total time that it was being used for, they were very similar. What we need to remember is total number of scans doesn't mean correct usage, because all a scan is literally a trigger pull. If I stand here with a cat and pull that trigger 10 times, I've effectively done 10 scans. So I would argue that the guy who's doing fewer scans is using it correctly, because he's not keep in and off that trigger all the time, yeah? Okay, he's properly tracing cables out and things like that. So we've got to be careful of that. We don't take too much of that as well into it. But we're more looking at overall time, really, what time it starts and what time they finished. Okay, guys, as I said, short and sweet. That was just a quick half an hour, 40 minutes, I guess. Look at some CAT data, look at some pointers on it. I hope that's been useful. I'll tell you what I can do, guys. Do you want me to show you how to stick it in the online? Does anybody want to just hang around for just 5 minutes and I'll show you how we put it in the online portal? Is that worth me showing you? So what I've done there has all been manual. I've used basically 2 bits of software, if you like, CAT Manager and the CAT analysis spreadsheet. Alistair, really interesting question. So we teach people not to use, let me rephrase that. Most of the people we train are working on utilities, utility replacement, etc. So for that group of people, we tend to teach them not to use it. And the reason for that is simple. So first of all, let's look at what avoidance scan does. Avoidance scan scans simultaneously in power, radio, and Genny at the same time. If you check out the technical specification, guys, it's no better than the individual modes. So it's not going to pick anything up that you wouldn't have picked up in the individual modes, okay? If we follow the manufacturer's instructions, what they tell us to do is scan the area on avoidance scan first, and if we pick up a signal, we should then do a power, radio, and Genny scan, or as I call it, a Genny power and radio scan, okay? When you're on avoidance scan, it's very hard to pinpoint. So the idea of avoidance scan is it's just telling you something's there, all right? So avoidance scan goes off, something's there, we now do a proper survey. But let me have you consider this. If you're in a footpath and your stats plans are telling you there's a cable in that footpath, why do you need avoidance scan? Remember, all avoidance scan is telling us is there is something there, we need to do a proper survey. I'm stood in a footpath. I know there's cables underneath me. I know there's something there. A lot of the guys we train, they're deliberately digging on top of things to replace them, repair them, etc. do they need a mode on a cat to tell them there's something there? So that's my kind of take on avoidance scan. Is it has its uses. For example, you've got a guy putting a fence post in the middle of the field. There's a likelihood there's not much there. Yes, do an initial scan on avoidance mode. People working like the Environment Agency who work, in more open areas with the banks and stuff. Yeah, but if we're digging in a footpath or a carriageway, we know there's stuff there. We don't need that fourth mode to tell us. So let's just do our proper survey. And one of my worries is, yeah, it's the same. Most of these cats have it now, Scott. Auto mode, avoidance mode. It's my concern is that the big challenge that we have in the UK is we're trying to get people to start that survey with the Genny and start hooking up to things and locating known services. If we then start watering that message down a little bit by saying, well, do you know what? Do your avoidance scan first, and then if it picks something up, then bring your Genny into it. I think we just need to have a clear message that what we do on site is we start with that Genny, we start hooking it up and tracing things out on known services. I hope that makes sense, guys. Anyway, on avoidance, I'm not sure whether you agree or not, but that's my take on it. For people that know there's something there, they don't really need it. Anyway, guys, we'll jump onto the online stuff. I'll just show you very, very quickly. The problem I've got with the online is I've got to be careful here because I've got two browsers opening. Let me just see if I can open up a new window here. And then if I can grab that window, that's it. Seems to be working. The last time I did this, guys, I screwed this up and disconnected everybody. Ben, no, it's very different with the 8000, Ben. This is, again, don't forget, different. We're in the UK, Ben. In the UK, the scanning, if you like, the locating is the legal responsibilities on the guys digging. So we have a lot more CAT and Genny users in the UK than we do 8000 users, because everybody literally excavating is responsible for their own locating. So if we go to RD Online here, guys, and again, username, password, that kind of stuff. And I'm going to sign in here. Okay, so we're on the portal now. If I go over here to CAT Manager Online, hopefully, again, guys, you can see this. And then upload usage data. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to select my operator, which is me, and then I'm going to choose a file to upload. So the file I'm going to choose is the same one we saved. Do you remember? We pulled it off the cart and we saved it. Hopefully, here we go. Webinar data Wednesday. So we're going to pull that up, and then I'm going to hit upload. Give it a little minute. There we go. It's done. So now it's been uploaded. Can you see it's been uploaded successfully? That's always good. Go back to my dashboard now. Okay. And now I'm just going to change the day in there because it was back to Monday. Apply that. Apply. There we go. And see my data's down here now. That's that file. So I'm just going to click on that. There we go. And that's our data there. So that's done it for me. That bypasses the analysis tool. But again, look at the data, guys. Doesn't look so bad, that, does it? If you were glancing at that, you'd think, actually, good Genny issues. Remember, it was all fake, that. Another bit of a giveaway there is how many scans I've done. 47 minutes, 5 scans, 5 trigger pulls. I'd be a bit concerned about that. But you can see the point there, how easy it is to come up with those figures. Doesn't tell me what it's been doing, you see. So what I can now do, guys, as well, if you're interested, I can go over here to the next page. There's our scans, and that's our GPS. Can you see this, guys? Now, obviously, because this was sat in my office, not moving for 47 minutes, there's only one point. But if somebody was out there really using this, guys, then you'd see different points on this map here. And of course, obviously, you'd see lines on there where he's been. I can put it on satellite view as well, like this, and have a look where he's been with it. Only with a GCAT, remember, guys, yeah? It's GPS. Also, guys, bear in mind that GPS is not accurate at all. It needs to be used as a tool to just verify roughly where they are. It's quite funny when you look at it sometimes. It looks like they've been walking over the top of people's houses and cars and fences and stuff, but it's because it's just a rough guide. So that is how we upload it. So what the GCAT does, it bypasses that. If you imagine with the GCAT, if it's set up correctly and it's paired with your phone, it's automatically just firing that data into this site, and anybody can just kind of log on and have a look. It's really useful, but you've got to have it set up correctly. Okay. So again, I hope that was useful. So guys, that's me done. That's my little section on CAT data analysis. Chuck some feedback in the comments, guys. Was it useful? I said it's only the second time I've done that one. So I'm still playing around with it a little bit, guys, but I hope it was useful for you. Anyway, I hope you took a bit from it. And again, guys, if you ever struggle with this in the future, just give us a ring. If you try and download a CAT and need a bit of help, just give us a ring. You should all have my email address and stuff by now, so feel free to get in touch if ever you want a bit of help with this. And obviously, when lockdown's finished, as I said, we do proper courses on this that we can come up. Not sure what you mean by it saying on the phone. The phone is more used just as a transfer tool, if you like, to get it in the web. You can press a thing on your phone called feedback, and it gives you a rough idea of how you use it that day, but not in as much detail. Yeah, David, if you could send it over, that'd be great. Please, you've got my email, I hope. And guys, if you're working for companies and you think obviously in your company would benefit from this quick half-hour session, just let me know. I can run them dead easy for you. If you've want to get people together and let them have a quick look at it. If you have got people downloading data. Yeah, and Scott, I've got another session at 4 if you want to jump on. I'm doing a Genny session at 4 o'clock. So if you want to jump on that, buddy, you're more than welcome to. It's the last one I'm running as well. I think. Oh, I've got one at 11:30 tomorrow actually, but yeah, I've got one at 4 coming up shortly, in 40 minutes time. I don't know what point mine is, Francisco. So I'm guessing no. Yes, Michael, it's different for the IDs, different results, different technology on the ID stuff. It's not aimed at this kind of thing with the 8,000 stuff. Right, guys, I think I've answered all your questions. We're coming to the end of this free series now, guys. So if there's anything you want to jump on this week, jump on it. We've started to pick up a little bit with inquiries coming in and stuff now. So we're not going to be able to run these after this week, I don't think, unless it's on request, if somebody comes to us and wants us to chuck one on. So take care, guys. I will see you all later. Thanks for joining me.